Oh, goodness, what a lady you are.
All I've ever wanted to be.
I'm pretty when I cry.
Horseback riding on the beach was the most remarkable feeling of my
so
life.
Fun. I was so jealous.
That was everything.
It looked amazing.
Oh, the difficult scene might be... There's like a private moment I have with Nan in ep 7 or 6. And we don't really have many private moments with her, so I felt a lot of pressure of showing like her internal state because she's kind of always on the go and you don't really get to see how she's really feeling and what she's really thinking. So I thought that was really difficult to try and translate that out into the screen.
Definitely. I think the most difficult, was just environment because it was so cold. And me and Josh have this scene where I think it's episode 3, I like run out to the cliff. We had to film that like 3 different times. So like it's in the beginning of the show, but I ended up filming me in the rain in November, December in Scotland. So they're like putting fake rain on me and I'm like trying to talk, but I'm shivering so much. So that was it's just like the environment it was difficult. And the most fun, also like giving birth, I was so insecure about that because you just have to go for it. You just scream. The most fun, I guess, I honestly just really enjoyed whenever all the girls and I were all on set together and got to shoot the shit. Sorry, pardon. Pardon me. It's not quite ladylike.
We had a really nice time. So when we're doing, there's a location called Runnymede, and that was like where we first actually shot together, and we ride in on horses, and that was like a pretty idyllic couple of days shooting because the weather was beautiful, really really hot, and there was a stream, and me, you, Showbit, Matt, we went down to the stream and we just threw rocks at rocks, if you can believe that. There was just like a big rock, and then we got loads of smaller rocks, and we're like trying to hit the rock, and we did that for like 2 hours. And then the game got like bigger and bigger and bigger. So like when we'd hit the rock, we'd be like, yeah! To the point where Susanna, the director, had to send someone, they were doing a rehearsal, and they had to send someone down and be like, can you stop, what are you doing?
It got out of control, yeah.
We were like, we're just throwing rocks.
No one ever hit
rocks
the rock.
at rocks.
But that, in fact, I think the garden, obviously the real garden behind us, I think this is Runnymede.
Does it?
It feels like Runnymede.
It looks a lot like Runnymede.
Yeah. They were housing.
So if you can imagine there's like a big rock there, and I've got a smaller rock.
Just behind the hedge.
And it's not so big that it's easy to hit, do you know what I mean? There's challenge to it. Matt had a good arm. Matt's got a good arm, throwing arm.
And you also like?
I would definitely say that. Runnymede were those were halcyon days.
Yeah.
And then I think did you ask what was a sort of challenging?
Yeah, the most remarkable, and on the opposite, maybe the most challenging one.
Challenging. I don't think any of it was sort of challenging. I mean, of course there were challenges, but I think each location was just beautiful. Like, and special within its own right, and that was like one of my favourite things about the job is wherever we were filming, there was a really distinctive energy to the environment.
Yeah.
And so it felt very different. So each place had its own energy. I'll have to think about that.
On the last day, my last scene, which is in episode 8, it was freezing. It was like -5, and I remember us all standing around. That was quite challenging because it was really, really, really cold. That was where we went down for that walk.
Yeah.
And we got told off.
Yeah, we
were supposed to be there, and we walked down and we went for a walk.
I foraged for some mushrooms at that location.
You did, yeah.
Not magic mushrooms.
Careful. Oh, careful.
I think randomly when we were in a very cold lake at one point, which was kind of difficult. You weren't.
No, although I really wanted to be in the lake.
I did not. I wasn't the most excited to be in a 4 degree Fahrenheit. So that might have been like -something Celsius.
It would have been frozen.
Okay, no, wait.
So maybe not negative degrees. It was cold. It was
20 degrees Fahrenheit cold.
I don't know what that is in Celsius.
20 to 30. I don't know.
It was cold.
I don't do math.
It was chilly.
It was very cold lake, which was kind of hard to be in and not faint. But one of the easier scenes, anytime we were dancing, we spent a lot of time giggling, which was fun.
Yeah, I think Yeah, the dancing ones were fun, although I actually didn't really get to...
You kind of stared while I danced.
Yeah, I watched. It was wonderful to watch.
Very voyeuristic.
In a creepy way. I think actually one of my most challenging scenes is a scene in episode 7 where it was just emotionally very taxing. It was quite a lot. Actually, I think that we have 2 scenes that are quite emotional that I found quite difficult, just emotionally. Sort of had to sit with some sad feelings for a while, which is never that fun. And then I think, what scene did I love? I loved everything in episode 2 for the summertime when we were running around, especially when the horses were there. I actually loved that. That was fantastic fun. Yeah.
My most remarkable was, this was the moment when it really sunk in what we were doing, and we were shooting in Glasgow, and we were using Glasgow as New York, and they had loads of extras and horses and carriages, and they'd relayed the road with a different surface and little like stalls of selling fruit, and I remember the camera was in my face, and all I had to do was cross the road, and they'd say action background, the whole thing would come to life, and it was. I remember I couldn't stop smiling in the take, but I wasn't smiling because the character was smiling. I was smiling because me as Matt, it was just like, what is my life right now? It was the most amazing experience.
That was also amazing. I remember that very well. The most challenging, probably there is a scene in episode 4 where my character has to be really going through it and really out of breath, and his whole world is kind of spinning. And I found it really challenging to kind of get that natural,
telegram.
To get that heart rate up. And he goes outside and he looks at the papers and I found that challenging. And the way my process was, I would just sprint on the spot. But like 2 minutes before they do, and I was doing press ups, and everyone was looking at me like, "What's this supposed to do?" Because then I was like, actually, I could actually be out of breath. Yeah. But before I figured out that, that was something I found really challenging.
To go from 0 to 100.
How do I get to that point? Get to that kind of out of breath? Because you don't want to pretend to be out of breath. You want to be out of breath. So that were the most challenging scenes for me.
I think a remarkable one for me was that it was like our first week shooting when we all had to go swimming in Runnymede. Because you remember when we just had to jump in. Also, the corsets get really heavy and the water's like freezing, but you're in the most beautiful landscapes ever. And I remember shooting that, and I was like, "This is actually amazing. Stunning. Like, this is a great day." Yeah. It was just like all of us, like, we weren't really acting at that point. We were all just like in the water, having a really nice time,
flailing about.
Yeah.
I think for me, wait, what was the next one? Remarkable. What was challenging for you?
What was challenging for me? Circle back.
Okay. I think for me, the most remarkable, I really enjoyed that day we filmed all the scenes in the kitchen.
Oh, that was
For some
cute.
reason, that was just like such an amazing, like,
that was a good day.
Like making the marshmallows in episode 5, and that was just fun. I really enjoyed that day in the kitchen. And then I think my most challenging.
What about the maze?
Oh, the maze. Oh, that maze.
All like slightly lost our minds.
Yeah, we did. There was this maze. I would say that was probably the most.
There was some energy in the maze.
Yeah,
I don't know what was in that
the maze was like haunted.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like I left a bit of my soul in that maze.
I took something from the maze.
Oh, you did?
Remember, I took that leaf. It was like
we were stuck in the maze for like a long time.
Or was it a walnut or something? I don't remember. It's in my memory box. Anyway, so
is it still?
Yeah. I think the maze was difficult because we couldn't actually find like. I was just following you around, so I don't really know.
It was cute because we were together.
Yeah.
Thank God. But some people were alone. They were trying to get this like shot from above and make it really perfect. So we had to do it so many times and. By the end, you could just hear like different people like screaming.
Yeah,
it got dark.
Like screaming.
Yeah,
but it was amazing, and now we laugh about it.
Yeah,
For me, most remarkable would have to be riding horses on the beach.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That was.
I was there on that day watching that, and I was so jealous. Like we did horse riding together, didn't we? And I didn't get to get on a horse, and I had to watch you and Kristine.
I think I remember like seeing you stood at the back, like
so jealous.
But that was incredible.
Also, the shot in Ep 7 with the fireworks.
The fireworks.
That's one of the most.
There's so many to pick from. That is amazing. But I think riding horses on the beach was like a magical moment.
Oh, goodness, what a lady you are.
All I've ever wanted to be.
I'm pretty when I cry.